Hi there. In the last video, the amREADY introduction, I did talk about the amREADY framework. And in that framework, I sort of alluded to what some aspects of it were, but I didn't really go into any sort of depth. In this video, I'm going to go into a little bit more depth to describe what the framework is, what it's intended to do, and why I've put it together the way I did. Overall, I would describe the framework as sort of a practical positivity. And I know that that might sound kind of silly. What I mean by that is it's realistic optimism, not some sort of permagrin, always positive, no matter what's happening to you type of simplistic approach, but one that is grounded, practical, something that you can relate to, something that I can relate to. The amREADY framework captures a number of different topic areas. And the reason for that is because what you need or what someone else needs is going to be different. And if you don't look at the holistic view, then you're probably going to be focused on the wrong thing, or you're going to miss something that could be a priority for you to develop or grow or to be healthier or happier. One of those topic areas is mental health, not just dealing with problems, that is absolutely included, but how to be healthier mentally and happier. And that is something that there's a lot of research, especially of late, that's gone into that I think is just not well known, and it's certainly not well implemented. There's a lot of unhappy people out there, and I think some of this information will absolutely help bring a different perspective and happiness, a life without regret, just more calmness and just more satisfaction. The other thing, and it's a core one, is the physical health. Again, not just dealing with problems and issues or limitations you might have, but how to be stronger and healthier physically, because that is absolutely your vehicle in life. Lifestyle is another one. What you surround yourself with in your home, your place of work, where you work, your commute, the city you live in, or the country, that all affects your happiness and your state of mind to some degree. Not to a large degree, but it certainly can if you let it. So your lifestyle, the way you've engineered or structured your life, is absolutely relevant to a health and happiness conversation. The other topic area is resilience. I have called that out on its own, not just so that you can plan to be more resilient when inevitable problems happen, but that you handle them with more grace and calm and composure. And then when done, you rebound, you come back, you bounce back better. Hopefully you learn from it, you grow, and you have that approach in your life. Resilience is a critical one. It absolutely is important because we all deal with challenges and upsets and loss in our life. The outdoors is another one. Nature, if you want to call it that, is something that I built into the amREADY framework in terms of a topic area. We have so many things around us that are artificial, that blink and so many screens. Just getting outdoors, the bigger the better. Oceans, rivers, lakes, creeks, deserts, under the stars, you name it. But getting out in nature is absolutely critical, and it's something that I think you're going to see a huge resurgence just around the world, and in terms of getting more nature into our lives, especially as we become more citified and more technology enabled. Happiness is another topic area that I called out. Again, not because it doesn't roll in under mental health, but there's so much that we've learned in science in the last 5 or 10 years about happiness, how to achieve greater happiness, and and calm and composure and flow state and positive psychology, you name it. There's just so much to learn there and so much that we can take into our lives just to be happier and live a life without regret. That's just such an important element to kind of fill up the tank, and it also helps get us through the difficult times. There are a number of principles that the amREADY framework is built around. Those principles I developed when I started synthesizing information from all these scientific articles and all this literature and research, because they're principles that are absolutely critical to implementing a life that is got greater health and mentally and physically and happiness. The first principle is that it's positive, that you're building from your strengths, you're focusing more on the positive, putting less emphasis in your life on the negative in a more balanced way. The other principle is that everyone's welcome. Any of these human performance, human development, personal development concepts apply to everybody equally. So absolutely everyone is welcome in the amREADY framework. The third principle is that the amREADY framework is based on proven information that is evidence-based, that is research-backed. It's proven to work. That way, I'm not wasting my time. You're not wasting your time. That's absolutely critical to me. The other principle is that you're building on perfection. And by that, I mean you're starting with where you're at today, regardless of mistakes or problems or challenges you've had in the past. You are perfect today, and you're going to build on that. And that's an absolutely abundance model frame of mind that is critical for increased happiness. The other is that you need to own it. Own it all. You're not blaming others. You're not blaming your circumstances or your situation. You're taking ownership and accountability for your own health, for your own happiness. If you're pointing the finger out at other things or other people and just blaming and using those as excuses, you frankly will not move forward. You need to own it, and that is difficult. And that in itself is a big challenge. And speaking of challenges, this takes effort. If you want to develop and grow and be healthier, be happier, it does take effort. You need to dig deep, and you got to put effort into it. Digging deep is another principle, because if you are just focusing on the surface, you will not get down to some of those stories that you tell yourself that are holding you back, that are making you unhappy. So digging deep is another principle. The other principle is it's a whole system approach. You aren't just this conglomeration of these individual components. You are part of a system. You have your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors or actions, your immediate environment, your life or your lifestyle. That all interacts to form who you are and how you interact with the world, and whether you are content and happy and living a life without regret, or whether you're unhappy and struggling, anxious or down. It's the whole thing. The last principle is that it requires flexibility. If you're rigid, if you're inflexible, you won't learn. You will break rather than bend during times of inevitable difficulty, and you will set yourself up for upset, for failure, for unhappiness, for anger, for all these negative emotions if you're just rigid and inflexible. So flexibility is challenging. It requires some self-confidence. It requires a mindset of being positive and not having these preconceived ideas about how everything will play out and how people should be acting or reacting. So being flexible is absolutely key to happiness. So in a nutshell, I kind of covered it quickly, but that is the amREADY framework. It's some of the principles and some of the topic areas that I cover. And I look forward to sharing more content tips and ideas with you. Feel free to follow amREADY on social. Come to amready.ca for the blog and for other web resources. And until then, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.